As scientists across the world are working day and night to develop a vaccine against novel coronavirus and also trying to develop a therapy or medicine to deal with COVID-19, this virus has posed a big challenge before everyone, and it is the asymptomatic patients. According to the latest revelation by Indian Council of Medical Research, around 80% of COVID-19 patients are asymptomatic. That means they do not have any peculiar symptom of fever, cough, or cold. So to talk on this issue, we have three doctors today. One is Dr. Abel Lawrence. He's a professor of clinical immunology and rheumatology at Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute, Lucknow. The other is Dr. Zishan Hussain. He is an internal medicine expert and corporator from Akola, Maharashtra. And then we have Dr. Tushar Jagtap. He is a dermatologist in Mumbai. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hello.
Dr. Zishan, when we have 80% of the patients as asymptomatic, how big the challenge is as a medical practitioner, as a doctor, if you can tell us?
See, right now during the lockdown, we really, frankly, no clinical setup anywhere knows how big is the challenges. But diseases which have more asymptomatic patients, they are likely to have some advantages, some disadvantages. The advantages being because most of them are asymptomatic, it is helping in bringing down the panic and especially the social stigma which was associated with COVID. The negative aspect of it is because a lot of patients are asymptomatic, so I'll be using the word hunting. So hunting those who are possibly having the disease becomes a lot more difficult. So if testing is not very rampant, then the famous epidemiological triad of test, trace and treat, it becomes very difficult when most of the patients are asymptomatic.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Jagtap, how do you view this entire situation when 8 out of the 10 patients do not show any symptoms, and they can go to any doctor, they can go anywhere, and can pose a bigger risk?
Yeah, that itself is a definition of being asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means the patient is harboring the infection, but he himself does not suffer from the infections. Most of them rather is asymptomatic, and since he does not suffer, he or himself does not know or herself does not know whether he or she is a carrier of this infection. So what is most important? How do I see this situation? I see that if you map the global scenario, you would find that the infection is rampantly spreading in European countries, America, North America, and now you see rapid rise in Russia also and in Japan also. To large extent, Asia is, except initially China, but to large extent, whether it is South Korea or whether it is say SAARC country like India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, even the Maldives and Afghanistan, we have relatively less rate of spread. Now, the strategy which has been employed by the health authorities, whether it is by WHO or it is by the government of India and the state governments, is proving to be very effective. As far as the Asian countries are concerned, I think self-isolation, or also it should be called as physical distancing, is the need of the hour. Asymptomatic patient, we really have to monitor them. Once we know that they are a patient who are tested positive for COVID-19, but they do not show any symptoms, self-isolation, quarantine, and proper management of this patient, observation of this patient is so important as far as the spread and control and treatment, even treatment of this disease is concerned, because they are going to contribute to something known as a herd immunity. So I see that the picture right now in Asian countries, especially in India, our efforts, the government efforts, the public efforts, I would say it is collective efforts, they are paying off to large extent.
Dr. Lawrence, is the 80% prevalence is in India. What is the situation in China or maybe in other parts of the world? Is the same 80%, 70, 80% or less?
So I would take any study where the denominator is defined as reliable. So the ICMR study is based on contact tracing. So as such, I would take this as credible, that 80% of asymptomatic is credible, as opposed to studies where people have taken looked for asymptomatic people and looked for the prevalence. That may have a bias in terms of survivorship biopsy, it's called. The challenges in China, the definition of the asymptomatic case in India elsewhere is different from China. In China, suspected COVID patients were subjected to CT scan, and they label somebody as asymptomatic only if the patient had no clinical symptoms and CT was negative. That is
we have not
CT
heard CT scan test here. We have not heard
yes,
of
that
scan in India.
In fact, when I raised this first, the beginning a few months ago, everybody was laughing. You are going to do CT for everybody. But that is exactly what China was doing. When the problem is the PCR is not fully sufficiently sensitive. If you do a single PCR, only 50 to 60% of the people are positive. So the thing is, we should realize that, besides the thing, there may be true people who are infected, but who don't have PCR and who don't have symptoms. That is also possible. So first thing is, there is multiplication of the virus in the lung. At this stage, there is interstitial pneumonia, which can be seen on CT by ground glass appearance, and there may be some nodules. And PCR positive patients, out of them, only around 50-60% were positive on PCR CT positive patients, only 50 to 60% were positive by PCR. On repeat testing, up to 75% were positive. So the thing is that we cannot, by PCR negative, we cannot exclude that somebody is not having the disease. The important thing to understand is that the spread of the disease is through asymptomatic patients. These are asymptomatic patients in the community who have not been identified. They are the ones who are spreading the disease. So larger number of asymptomatic people means it makes the greater challenge to control the disease in long term. And these people can continue to spread. And the second challenge is that now a patient comes to the hospital with some problem. Nothing is unrelated to coronavirus. Somebody may be a chronic patient, maybe a patient of a neurosurgeon or an orthopedician or ophthalmologist, and the doctor sees the patient in a setting where the amount of personal protection equipment is limited. And this patient may transmit the disease to the doctor, the hospital staff, and to other patients. And these other patients may be much more susceptible than the original patient. And these patients who got this disease from the asymptomatic people can develop serious symptoms, complications, and may die. So this is the real challenge. How do you exclude potentially, potentially infected people who are asymptomatic? And key difference between this particular SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 versus the previous SARS is that even asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic subjects can transmit the disease. The peak period of the 2 to 3 days before the onset of symptoms itself, patients may start shedding the virus and they can transmit the disease. So this becomes a challenge in OPDs and clinics. And one of the things, demand that has arisen in my hospital is that, should we test everybody before admission? What test would you do? People are saying we'll do PCR, but PCR is not sensitive enough to do that.
Doctor, you mentioned that you made a very important point that 25% people who will undergo PCR test, they can be tested as false negative, right?
Yes.
And we already have 80% asymptomatic patient who will anyway not going to be tested, So that means more than 80% people are,
yes.
into
the
How do you test zone.
If you test inside the lung through the BAL or that is bronchoalveolar, you do a bronchoscopy and test it. Sometimes post-mortem test, you can detect the virus in people who have been negative by PCR.
Dr. Zishan, do we have this kind of infrastructure in public healthcare system in India where we can offer CT scan test to the patients?
See, CT scan test is a doable thing, but the major issue is when we are dealing in a pandemic, there is a concept which is called as the disease burden, and the overall burden on the health infrastructure is much beyond the disease burden. To simplify it, patients, if we dedicate, for example, in Akola Medical College, we have a CT scan, GMC Akola. This is a district place in Vidarbha, so consider this is sampling of a district which is more or less coinciding with the conditions of 70 to 80% other districts in India. So we have one CT scan. if we are going to screen everyone with that CT scan, which is a fairly good thing to do, other patients who will be now needing CT scans, where will they go? That is the problem. So as you asked, we do not right now have an infrastructure to do it, but then exactly for this enhancement of infrastructure, are we having this lockdown? See, as everybody, every medical authority, be it WHO, be it ICMR, everybody is repeatedly insisting that lockdown is just a pause button.
Let me add
This
something.
pause button is to use. These are the times when we could have easily increased our infrastructure, as Dr. Lawrence has been saying that China has already been doing it. The point he was making about sensitivity. See, if you do sampling of swab through your nasopharynx or the oropharynx, the oral swab, we are likely to have between 50 to 63% sensitivity. So if you do 100 samples, you will get 100 patients who have disease. Only 60 of them will be positive on PCR. So 40 patients you are missing by a test. So this is all adding up. We do efforts. We have to walk that extra mile. We have to enhance our infrastructure. We have to ensure that once released, we may just face some very bad days if we do not enhance our infrastructure.
Dr. Lawrence, rapid antibody test is going to help in this scenario?
Let me, not necessarily at that stage. Let me answer this. We don't need a full CT scan and non-contrast CT in people. Suppose somebody comes with an abdominal pain, chest pain. These are symptoms of coronavirus, which without respiratory, how do you connect someone coming with abdominal pain to coronavirus? In such patients in the emergency, before they are admitted into general wards of gastroenterology or cardiology, doing a CT scan may quickly point finger at coronavirus rather than some other direction before. And since PCR test will take another day to come. The problem with antibody test in such a scenario is this. We need to look at the timeline of the thing. So in the beginning, somebody has got infected, virus is multiplying. At this stage, during this incubation, no test will be positive. At some point in time, they may become positive on CT scan. That is, CT changes can occur much before any other test is positive. Then the subject starts secreting the virus in the oropharynx, that is nasopharynx, that is in the mouth and in the nose. At this time, if you do PCR, the PCR comes positive. We have to know that before the PCR in these secretions, it will be there in the lungs. And then what happens? At this stage, we are getting the PCR, then patient becomes symptomatic. That is, the PCR becomes positive a few days before the patient becomes symptomatic. Then after the symptom onset, it takes 1 week to 10 days for the antibodies to be formed. So this antibody test is useful in patients who come later on. It is also useful in identifying those who had this disease in the past. So suppose someone had an abdominal pain, diarrhea, fever, respiratory, some symptoms which are consistent with this thing, and the PCR is negative. So it is possible that later PCR may become negative and the antibodies. So in early disease, someone comes with who is pre-symptomatic or early symptomatic phase, this antibody test may be negative. And it has been shown that up to about 5% of the people, even after recovery, have no antibodies in the blood. So antibody tests have its own problems, that it is not positive very early. Then it has false negatives about 5%. And antibody tests also have false positives. Suppose someone who has a high probability of coronavirus, in late stages, antibody test can complement the PCR test. However, it is not very useful for community surveys at this stage, because community surveys, the probability of a true positive is very low. In such a scenario, the specificity of the test. What is specificity? How many people without the disease come negative? So if a test with specificity of 98% means that if you take 100 people without, or say 1000 people with no disease, that is true negative, 980 of the 1000 is negative. That means 20 of them are positive. So if you use a test with 98% specificity and conduct a survey and find that 2% is positive, it only means the false positive rate. So these surveys using serological tests should take into consideration the specificity of the test.
Dr. Jagtap, what is the approximate cost of a CT scan. I would just like to understand whether it is a feasible idea to include in our screening or maybe diagnostic process.
I think here what we are trying to do is trying to go do the laboratory testings, whether it is CT scan or whether it is blood test or whether it is antigen antibody test. My focus, I feel that I'll come back to your question, but I personally feel that what Indian doctors are good into, clinical diagnosis of the cases. So what is most important is that one side we do continue with this screening test, whether it is PCR or whether it is antigen antibody test, but and whether it is CT scan, which is important in diagnosis of such cases. But the focus and the thrust area should be epidemiological and the clinical. Here the government can enroll many private doctors in fighting this crisis, and the private doctors association which are there in the country, they should voluntarily come forward to combat this disease.
But how do we diagnose asymptomatic person clinically? I'm not too sure about it.
There is another issue here.
No, that's what I said about epidemiological. Means it's like some epidemiologically, some area whether it is more cases we are calling it as a hot area, or we are calling it as a most red area, red zone sort of where. So we have to use all these parameters basically in screening of the general population, and where we talk about the asymptomatic cases as well. About the CT scan, cost of the CT scan, it differs from hospital to hospital, place to place, government services to government services, and even private to private. But on an average, in city of Mumbai, in Mumbai BMC run hospitals, the cost of CT scan is around 1200 rupees, and in government hospital also it is more or less 1200 or 1500. But in private, it depends. So the cost is more than 2000 rupees. So I feel
it is not much because private labs are already charging 4500 or maybe 4000 rupees for PCR test. That I think this is much more feasible compared.
Let me add something.
Because the machines available all over the country are very less in numbers.
There are two ways to look at it. CT scan has an installed cost. Once you buy a CT scan, you already spend the money, and the only recurring cost is in some situations you may have to give contrast. But when you are doing it for a coronavirus, you don't need contrast. It's like a glorified, much more specific CT scan. So it's like it costs electricity and the people, and the cost will depend on the number of tests you do. If you are doing a non-contrast CT, it takes a few seconds. So you can actually do many more CT scan for coronavirus if you are using it as a screening tool. Instead of X-ray, you do a CT scan, quickly do few sections as a screening, CT screening, and you can reduce the cost. One machine can be put to much greater use, and so cost can be reduced. The fixed cost that is charged to the patient assumes a certain number of tests are being done, that's much lower than that. So these costs can be recalculated. The other issue with CT scan is that we need to remember that it is more sensitive than PCR, but it is less specific. In the sense, any interstitial pneumonia, even a swine flu, will also have the same kind of findings. And there are other autoimmune diseases which also, like various interstitial lung disease, look the same. So
that means we have to do at least 2 tests to confirm whether it is
we need to. No test is this thing, but these are complementary. Suppose one of the practical challenges is somebody, as I say, someone comes with abdominal pain, chest pain. Do you wait for 1 or 2 days for the COVID to be negative before treating that patient? So PCR, this is the problem. How do we rapidly triage a patient? How do you say what is this patient doesn't have coronavirus? If you do CT, it is negative. The probability that patient will become PCR positive in the next few days is low.
Dr. Zishan, do we have CT scans at community health centers or maybe secondary care hospitals in Akola district, if we talk about?
No. In Akola district and as per my knowledge, in most of the hospitals which are at district places, we have a CT scan, but it is not present at taluka levels. So ultimately, if you go for installed CT scans of government setups, then we have to come to the district places, practically 640 places in India.
So the real challenge this disease has posed is that we need a simple test which can diagnose this patient with limited infrastructure at low cost in the early phases of the disease. Currently, we do not have one which is suitable. This is why this is really challenging. But there is something which not many people are talking about, but which might come in a few months. That is, even the PCR has to be sent to some select institutions. In SGPG, obviously, it is available here. The sample has to be transported. The other test is something called antigen test. So antigen test basically detects the proteins produced by the virus. So the positivity of the antigen test will mirror the positivity of the PCR test. So in early disease, also this is useful. And the problem is that we do not have a very good antigen test yet. This is because developing an antigen assay requires highly specific antibodies which identify only this virus. So that kind of characterization of the antibody and the specificity of the test will require more time. It is much more easier to develop an ELISA antibody test than an antigen test.
Dr. Lawrence, have you given your suggestions to ICMR or maybe Ministry of Health in Delhi?
I think ICMR has its own advisory committees. We don't know what is going on. We have got several recommendations of ICMR, including hydroxychloroquine, therapy regimen. We don't know who wrote it, what are the references, what is the scientific basis behind it. And so ICMR is not transparent. I don't know whom to contact in ICMR.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for talking with us. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.